there, welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits. Coming to you from the Cycle Garage here in sunny Santa Cruz, California.
Yes.
Halloween edition.
It is the Halloween edition.
Spooky. Oh, you know who visited us today?
A spook.
Bosley, the ghost of Bosley.
Dukaki Dave came by.
Did he?
No way.
He did.
No, it wasn't.
And I felt a little bad because I'm like, do you guys remember this guy? This is Ducati Dave. And he goes, Dukaki. I was like, oh, he knows. Because he knows we call him that.
Well, he earned
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
What was he riding?
A Porsche.
No, he's a Mercedes.
No, he's a Mercedes.
Oh,
He's a
Mercedes,
Mercedes-Benz AMG.
He traded his Diavel for 2 jet skis.
There you go.
But now he's flipping KTMs for a living. I
Did
kid
he
you
move to
not.
Florida too?
No. Sacramento, so just as bad.
Well, jet skis is an unusual market for, Sacramento.
I know.
Got the Delta.
Hi, everyone. This is Liza. Joining me on the Classy Girl couch tonight, it's Miss Emma.
Hello, darlings. Here I am.
Is that Fritz the cat on your shirt?
No, it's Felix.
Oh, I thought it was
Felix,
Fritz.
No, if it was Fritz, he'd be smoking a joint and in bed with a hippie.
Cat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And filling in tonight, our stunt misfit, since Stumpy John is still out of town, we have Patrick.
Poutine Patrick, apparently.
yes.
Poutine Patrick. Oh.
Where'd that come from?
Well, I've been going to Canada. We got the poutine pussy, and then here we are. Poutine Patrick.
Oh, my.
You know you like it.
That got weird. Okay. And sitting in his new chair, it's Naked Jim.
Hey, what's happening?
You're sitting very upright and correct.
I love
Jim.
the chair. It's
No,
wonderful.
is it ergonomically appropriate?
It's ergonomically way more better, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, nice and cushy, and they're there's no wheel. Well, I had the one chair for a while that had 3 of the 4 wheels. That was always interesting.
I wanted to mention that Liza said, look, before you go into the studio, you need to know. I've done a major upgrade. And of course, it went in one ear and out the other. But I walked in. This place has had a major upgrade. Seating is better.
And I cleaned.
And you cleaned all my
cans
candy
and bottles
and
and candy wrappers.
half drunk gin and tonic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, a big shout out to Mike Beck, who's in town.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Coolest guy I know. Yeah, man. He was on his motorbike today.
The Royal Oil Field.
Yep, yeah.
It is meatier than the others.
And we were out for some good Mexican food the other night. He played in Carmel. I missed it. I'm bummed.
Yeah, you should be. It was a great show.
And joining us from his garage in Oregon, it's Bagel.
Greetings to all the ghouls out there.
Oh, groovy ghoulies.
Hello.
It's all the goons. So right off the bat, I want to give an update. Our 500th episode is coming along. Jim, you got a little sneak preview. Emma hasn't seen it, so
I did, yeah.
you got a little sneak preview.
The production value is high.
Really?
Yes, yeah, good production value.
Yeah, I'm putting together a whole.
You rented a
it's
theater,
show.
for God's
I rented
sake.
a theater. I know. But just to clarify, this is open to the public. You just have to go to our website, motorcyclesandmisfits.com. Click the link to reserve your tickets to our event and come see us record our 500th episode. But also, that is going to be Saturday evening. Jim, what is happening Saturday day?
But wait, there's more.
This is a 2-day event.
It's a twofer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to do a little group ride. And, nothing too fancy, but the more the merrier. And myself and I think Matt from Law Tigers, Breaking Away Matt, may help shepherd. And we'll do maybe around a 4-hour ride and just see some of the beautiful landscape in southern Santa Cruz and northern Monterey County. And maybe a little ride to food. We don't want to spend too much time in the parking lot eating French fries or whatever. But we may a couple of stops. One will probably stop for some lunch or a little something to take a break. And then we're also stopping in PG.
Stopping.
It's a stopping. Yeah, and I think we may swing by the museum down in Pacific Grove.
I think what I'll do is maybe create an event on our Facebook page for that so we have an idea. But the ride is going to be meeting here at the Recycle Garage at 11 a.m. On Saturday, December 3rd. And we'll bring everyone back into town in time to change and get ready for the big gala event at the theater.
Yeah, and what I'm thinking is we do, meet at the garage 11, kickstands up 11:30, good 4 hours on the bike, and maybe when we come back, we'll find a place for a little social hour in between the ride.
That would be nice.
And the podcast.
And we could do a nice dress up event in the cinema. The boys can wear cocktail dresses and the women can wear tuxes.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. But it'd be kind of fun. So I figured we could do a little social hour before the podcast for people if you have time after the ride, or if you didn't do the ride but you want to hang out and have a little
for people
meet and
coming
greet.
from out of town.
Yeah.
But that's not it. We're also going to do an open house on Sunday here at the garage and bring out the barbecue grill. And
Are there going to be cheesy filled sausages?
oh, yeah, that's some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's some good stuff.
There's nothing I love more.
oh God.
Than a cheesy Bavarian.
I think Bagel has that accent.
Which should be, Cheesy Bagel's other nickname, Cheesy Bavarian.
Are you heading south for this bagel?
Oh yeah, I'll be coming down.
Awesome.
You better.
Well,
you bet.
and also, do you know who else is coming for this?
I do, but I don't want to say.
I'm going to say it.
Say it.
That way he's locked in. Phil from Cleveland Moto is coming out. He's going to be one of our guests. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, that'll be super fun.
Exactly. So,
And and other podcast listeners have been dropping notes and saying they're coming. And we may even do a little, I don't know. I'm thinking about taking that Friday off and do some more writing. I don't
make
know.
it a 3-day event.
I know. Be a threefer.
That might be fun because I'm going to be busy all weekend.
Buying sausages.
Probably. I need to do a ride to buy some sausages. So come to our 500th episode party on December 3rd. Again, go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com and you can register there. And Emma, I have some good news for you.
You do?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have a sponsor for this show tonight.
I know.
And it's somebody who you're very fond of.
I am very fond of.
Our friends Mimi and Moto are back.
Well,
Oh, nice.
yeah. Mimi and Moto, who were created by Nancy and Mark. So,
Before you go on, I wanted to say, I've seen their books around. When we were at Gilroy Motorsports, I saw their book on the counter. And I thought that was really cool. So
cool.
I'm great. I'm glad they're doing a lot of good things.
yeah. So, Christmas holidays are approaching, and it's time to start thinking about getting some presents for the children or the young at heart.
I wish I knew
life.
what to get this year.
Well, I'm going to answer that for you. Our friends Nancy and Mark, creators of Mimi and Moto, want you to join their mission to get more children excited about motorcycles.
Yeah.
Go visit www.mimiandmoto.com. That is MIMIANDMOTO.com, where you can purchase the couple's motorcycle books. And there are plenty of them. The Adventures of Mimi and Moto and Mimi and Moto Ride the Alphabet, along with T-shirts, onesies, ornaments, and other paraphernalia. And my screen's gone blank. Help!
Yeah, I love Mimi and Moto. And they've added all this new, like clothing and stuff.
Plushies.
Yeah.
So stay tuned as Nancy and Mark are working on a new chapter book called Mimi and Moto's Magical Meteors First Gear, which will be released early in 2023. So visit Mimi and Moto today and get some Christmas shopping done that will help create future motorcycle riders. Now, as you probably figured out, I read that, but the slight difference is we had Nancy and Mark in the studio here. They are great people. They're very, very passionate about motorcycles.
And I know you've bought their books.
Oh, absolutely. I was a very, very early buy-in of their books, and I'm on the back page of sponsors in Mimi and Moto Ride the Alphabet. Because I believed in this product.
Nice.
I mean, we've really got to, as responsible bikers, we've really got to think long. And thinking long is just, getting kids interested in these things. And the younger, the better. So, congratulations on your new book, Nancy and Mark.
Yeah, thanks guys at mimiandmoto.com. Speaking of responsible bikers, I've got some news. On October 13th, a trooper attempted to pull over Christopher Gaylor, 38, of Alexander, Arkansas, for having no visible license plate on his motorcycle.
I saw that.
A chase ensued, with speeds approaching 100 miles per hour, until Mr. Gaylor jumped from his motorcycle in a residential area of North Little Rock, State Police said. A second state trooper used a taser on Gaylor, and a fire immediately erupted, engulfing Mr. Gaylor in a fireball. State police said they later learned that Mr. Gaylor was carrying about 1 gallon of gasoline in his backpack. Mr. Gaylor was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That was pretty gnarly. But, you know, I was actually born in North Little Rock, Pulaski County, and the dude was like carrying it in like a Pepsi bottle or something, and he ran from the cops. So it's like,
I mean, just
yeah,
why, though?
and he was
Why?
still running from the cops
And he
when
had,
they
like, no
it looked like the
registration,
dude
no
tased him right in the
insurance.
gas tank.
Why
in
would
his
you
backpack?
Why would you carry the gas in your backpack? I don't understand.
Well, the same reason you ran from the cops. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
I guess so, because it's like, the gas station 2 miles down the road. Now I still got to carry this tank on me.
The video is pretty dramatic, though.
Oh, it's a video.
Oh yeah, and it looks like the taser hits him right in the backpack full of gas.
just
It just rubs.
Roman candle.
I'm actually going to use this as a plug for a good product. One of the good products I actually got off of AliExpress, which are those little gas bottles. They have survived a lot. One of them is really quite dented up. But if he had it in a aluminum gas bottle with a sealing lid, that wouldn't have happened.
Surely you mean aluminium, darling.
Yes.
Thank you.
Exactly.
No, if he had that, he probably would have sold it for more meth and then been back in the plastic jug again.
Or to make meth
Yeah,
with
there-
that bottle.
That's it.
Yeah, but just hold on now.
Oh,
I have more news.
you don't say.
Here we go. So, the AMA announces the 2022 Hall of Fame inductees. This year, they include Speedway World Champion Greg Hancock, Supercross Champion James Stewart, AMA Superbike and World Superbike Champion Ben Spies, GNC Champion Kenny Coolbeth, and then motorcycling pioneer Effie Hotchkiss and fabricator Sandy Kosman. The 6 inductees will be honored during the 2022 AMA Hall of Fame induction on October 28th in Pickerington, Ohio.
That was last night.
That was last night.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, and some of my Chickastanners were there.
Oh, no kidding.
Well, Maggie was there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But she took Lily as her date, who's one of our Chickastanners who got to go.
I tell you what,
and Aaron was there.
I'm looking at a picture of James Stewart. He's a very handsome young man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a good-looking guy.
Charger.
Apparently, there was in the social media, Maggie was telling the story that Lily, who really didn't know who any of these people were, but just went to have fun, except for Aaron Sills, wanted to get a picture with James Bubba Stewart and turned around and asked a man to take their picture, and it was Malcolm.
Oh, how funny. Of all the people.
I assume Malcolm Smith. Yes.
Yes.
Here, can you take a picture of us, sir? I'm like, oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Because she had no idea who he was.
But that's okay.
Yeah. Before we have a guest coming in soon, I wanted to give another update and another plug for the Rev Sisters Moto Film Festival, which is happening right now. The free preview weekend has just ended, but that's okay. For $10, you can get a ticket that's good for another 2 weeks, and we've got a lot of films. So there's one of the films I wanted to share that is actually quite fascinating and grueling. There's a film we have called 972 Breakdowns. It's a full 2-hour film, and it was about these 5 German artists decided that they wanted to travel from Germany to New York City and on U-Hauls with sidecars. So they bought 4 sidecars and took off on this trek. And
They went the long way, yeah?
they went the long way. They went across Europe and then up into Russia, and they went on the Road of Bones. If you're not familiar with that, that's real hardcore riding. And the idea was to go up across northeastern Russia and then over is it the Bering Strait that you can go into Alaska, down into Canada. That was their plan. And if you couldn't tell by the title of the film, 972 breakdowns. They had a lot of breakdowns on the road.
Is that both mechanical and emotional?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure.
But here's the thing, and this was quite interesting. And Emma, I'm wondering how if this applies to other bikes. The reason they chose the Ural is because there was everywhere on that route you could get parts for it.
It could well have been.
And I'm wondering if Ural is one of the bikes that you can get parts in the most places for.
Well,
Isn't
that
that
has to
crazy?
The design hasn't changed for what, like 40 or 50 years now?
The design hasn't changed since Stone Age times.
There you go. So, like,
Stalin.
they've been selling that same bike for the last 70 years. Like, the parts were everywhere, I would imagine.
Well,
Quit stalling.
or-
They're all over the side
Or
of the
at
road.
at the very least, they're very easy to make a replacement part.
Right,
with very
and I
minimal effort.
Right, and I think that's a big plus. I mean, if you break a Ural, the chances are, and I am pretty sure that in one of the handbooks it said if you can't find a part, visit your local blacksmith and he'll make you one.
Hey, there you
I
go.
was going
Right?
to say,
and
if you can find a blacksmith shop, you'll be all set.
And in fact, all the way across Russia, they would stop at like flea market type of outdoor markets and pick up pieces and parts to take with them. And they had quite a stash of parts, including like engine cases and pistons and everything, wheels. They were carrying so much. But once they were getting up into the rugged terrain of Road of Bones is not really a good road. In fact, it's constantly reclaimed by nature. Rivers taking out bridges and sections of roads. And apparently the reasons called the Road of Bones, was it Stalin who built the Road of Bones?
Yes.
I think Stalin.
so, yeah.
And they say every couple meters is another body underneath the road.
Sounds about right for that.
Yeah.
And then they decided to take a shortcut through nature.
Jeez.
And they had to basically build bridges over, it's crazy. And one fascinating thing they did, they were carrying so much gear with them, they decided to build a trailer to carry even more gear. And they built a trailer that could also unfold and be a portable bridge.
Wow.
That's intense.
Right? So they needed that to get over these like just sections of missing road and stuff. Right?
Wow.
And so they'd have this little bridge, which is basically like it's just a ramp up and then back down the other side with the axle in the middle. But sometimes for a deep section of a river or something, that's exactly what you needed to get over that, right? Or a mud pit or something. And so that was a solution. But then they found that the bike didn't have enough power to go up hills with all the gear, and the trailer that weighed a lot had to weigh enough to be able to support a Ural going over it. I mean, every solution created a new problem.
Oh my goodness.
Well, so I was just reading about it a little bit. As many as 1 million political slaves and prisoners could have been killed during the construction of it. Wow. And because the ground was frozen, they just incorporated you into the roadway because it was too hard to dig a hole.
Oof.
Yeah, they buried you in the road.
Figure 1 million people by how many miles?
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore. And then at one point, they had to travel down a river. So they ordered these inflatable raft pontoons that they tied to the bikes and welded up a propeller shaft attached to the drive shaft.
That's awesome.
And then tethered them all together and made a giant raft and used the front wheel for steering with like a rudder that dropped down. Yeah, again, every solution created a problem. But it's a fascinating movie called 972 Breakdowns. Go to Rev Sisters, REV sisters.com, and for $10 you can register and see there's 21 movies that you have another 2 weeks to watch. So go check that one out. And then the other one that I really, really love is Little Giant, the PW50 story. It's a guy who started riding on a PW50. Now he's grown up, and he bought an old one and fixed it up for his little girl and got her riding, but it kind of told the story of the impact. How many racers today started out on a PW50.
I don't know,
Yeah.
probably a lot.
Yeah, a little 50cc mini dirt bike, and what an impact it has had on the motorcycle community. So that's just another great film. Our guest should be coming in any second. There's a controversy. How do you say it, Emma? Controversy?
Controversy.
Controversy?
Yes.
That's
Controversy.
That's been coming up more and more that I wanted to bring up. And it's actually two different topics that we're going to be discussing. The first one is called right to repair. Are you guys familiar with this?
Very much so,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. But the second one, I don't even know what to call it, but it's subscription upgrades. Is that what you call it?
I don't know, like unlock stuff.
Yeah, like I was looking at
Paywall.
There you go.
It's
Yeah.
a paywall. It's a subscription to ownership, if you will.
Yeah, so these are two different subjects, but really they're kind of the same because they're coming in from other industries, and things are changing. So I thought, you know what? Let's bring in somebody who really knows what's going on, and brought in one of our old friends from the AMA. Got Mike Sayre here with us. You guys remember Mike was on when we were talking about New York City and all the stuff going on with them, and that was crazy.
That was crazy.
But and here's the thing. Here's a great thing. One of the reasons that we're all members of the AMA is you can call them up. Mike, I assume you can just call up an AMA rep and ask them questions about things anytime you want, right?
Pretty much within business hours.
Exactly. So I called up Mike because I know you brought this up last time you were on, the right to repair. That is it's a big issue that's coming up. Now, this is existing in lots of different industries. Cell phones. I can't get a new battery for my cell phone, right? I can't get. You can't do that anymore. But even bigger, I think, like John Deere tractors. There are farmers who can't do repairs to it without taking it to a certified dealer, who don't always have access to a certified dealer, which makes it a bit of a conundrum. Mike, how did AMA get brought into right to repair? What brought it to your attention first?
Probably before my time. I started in 2016, and the issues existed kind of well before then. Largely, I think, where folks heard of it first and foremost is probably on the automotive industry. But we've been involved in consumer protection things like making sure lemon law stuff applies to motorcycling, and those type of broad consumer-based things. So this has been something, as it's evolved and motorcycling's been impacted on it, we've been involved from the beginning. I think 2012 was a particularly important year with the state of Massachusetts passing a law that did not include motorcycles, but included other road-going motor vehicles under their version of right to repair that led to a national memorandum of understanding between the automotive industry and kind of the automotive independent repair shop or similar thing industry of how they'll apply the Massachusetts law to the country.
Yeah.
And then different manufacturers do a better and worse job, as I understand it, on the automotive side, but largely they comply. And as vehicles, motorcycles included, get more complicated, it becomes more of a software question and a lot more data is involved. And then we're having kind of the same debate these days of where exactly that line is drawn, in particular in the automotive side, whereas we're in the motorcycling side are, way behind in terms of the consumer's right or independent repair shop's right to the information and parts required to make repairs.
So an example would be, Jim, you have a brand new bike.
I do,
a
yes.
sick Gixxer.
I'm a Gixxer bro.
So if you wanted to, say, do some performance upgrades, change out the exhaust, flash the ECU, could you take it to Emma's shop?
I want to make it a little more race ready. I want to look cool and have like a cool exhaust and flash the thing. And
can he bring it to your shop?
He can, but there's a limited amount that I am able to do as a repair shop. And this is something new for Suzuki. And this came in this year. So there's software on his bike that I need a Suzuki-specific software on my laptop to speak to his bike, to flash the ECU, to turn the service indicator light out. Up until that point, Suzuki's largely had been self-diagnosing and self-regenerating when it came to the service indicator light. All that's gone away now. You need Suzuki-specific software. And what I wanted to say to Mike is we need to understand that right to repair goes a certain way. Now, I'm sure I can buy the software from Suzuki in order to service Jim's bike. That's what right to repair basically means. Whether it's worth my while doing it because it is so expensive, that's the question for a smaller independent shop. Now, Triumph's a great example. I do a lot of modern Triumphs through my shop. So to drop a couple of grand on Triumph software, it makes perfect sense for me. But as of right now, there's only a couple of Suzukis. In fact, Jim's is the only Suzuki I know that you need specific software. From this point, they're all going to be that way. But with a Suzuki dealer just down the road from me, it doesn't make a great deal of sense. So, there's a cost factor as well.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So what is the AMA's official stance on this? Is this good? Is this bad? Is this just how things are going?
I think first and foremost, it's, you are a consumer, you own your product, and as part of that should come with the ability to choose an independent repair shop that has, I guess, the phrase used by the right to repair advocates writ large over every industry from cell phones to tractors to motorcycles is available for a fair and reasonable price. So, like you said, $2,000 for something you may use often is not too unreasonable if you're a shop, maybe a little past an individual. But as long as for a consumer, that stuff is available, parts, information required to make the repair, service manual type things is available to you or your independent shop, you should have the full right and ability to make use of that. And then there's a second point there. I had in my head and I've already escaped. It's been a long day. Man. Sorry.
Well, I can jump in. From the standpoint of the makers, the industry, they're saying we can't have people who are not certified or not trained going into these systems that may disable safety features and also may alter the running of the engine. How do you say that? The efficiency of the engine, and make it worse. So that thus voiding a warranty. Like they can't. And in the case of John Deere, they're like, safety features are really important. There are things to keep you from like falling out and running over yourself, that they can't let somebody have full access and maybe disable features. So I kind of get that point. But also with somebody like Zero, Emma, could you work on a Zero?
Oh, gosh, no. Well, yes and no. If a Zero needs tires, if it needs brakes, if it needs suspension work, anything to do with the chassis, yes, of course I can do that. Anything to do with the battery system, the controllers, absolutely not. Nor would I really,
and that's what I wanted to get to. Nor would you really want to.
Well,
right?
With Zero as close as it is.
Yeah, but to the mechanic in the middle of anywhere, Kansas or something, they don't have the ability. They don't have the training. You really do need to have the training to work on something like a Zero. Not just the training, but you need to have the tools.
Oh,
to
absolutely.
Access it.
You need a 25-foot long fiberglass cane in case you become electrocuted.
So should that not apply then for the high tech motorcycles? That is this protecting the consumers from somebody who's not authorized? Mike, are we trying to protect the consumers, or are we trying to protect the maintenance industry? The small shops.
It's both, really. I'm certainly not a very competent mechanic, and my options are relatively limited for what I can go and take my bike to. I this issue became a little more personal for me when I had a check engine light on my bike come on the last couple minutes of a long trip home, and I don't have any way to check what that code is. If it's anything serious, the bike's behaving totally normally as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
But in order to just get that code checked to tell me what that code is and if it's serious and reset it, my local authorized dealer, it was more than a month to get in there to do,
Wow.
Take the seat off, plug it in, and read a code.
What bike are you riding, Mike?
I have a Ducati Multistrada V4.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example. Ducati are absolutely model specific with their software.
Yep.
And to buy into that software, you not only do you have to buy the software, but you pay a monthly subscription in order to keep it current. And so the dealership, when the dealership plugs your Multistrada in and they say, this is, Joe Soap's dealership, they'll have to Ducati will ask for a code. And the code is changed every month. And so they ask for a code, and you have to put the code in, then they will unlock the information. It's completely out of reach of independence.
So, but do you agree or disagree with that then? Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Triumph, because, these are my homeboys. So I get a modern Triumph come in. I take the seat off, and the Triumph connector is a standard OBD2. I plug in my OBD2 reader, which you can get for $20 from AutoZone. Mine's a little more expensive than that, but nevertheless, it's an OBD2 reader. You plug it in, it gives you the code. You have to do a little bit of thinking, because all it does is it gives you a code. It doesn't tell you what's wrong with the bike. It'll give you a code, and it'll say, temperature sensor out of range. You think, okay, well, maybe the temperature sensor isn't out of range. Let's have a look and see what's happening. And look, the temperature sensor has, a wire pushed against it, so it's a little closer to the engine than it should be, the ambient temperature sensor. So you move it away, and the check engine light goes away. But you can do that. And, I have software to turn off the service indicator light on Triumphs, and it wasn't cheap, but it wasn't massively expensive either. Ducati, BMW you can buy the software, but it's all pirate stuff. And whenever you plug a pirate program into a $30,000 bike, and you're talking to an ECU with pirate software, it's scary. From a dealer's perspective, from an independent's perspective, you're plugging in something, and you might do something bad to that ECU just with this knockoff software. You're relying incredibly heavily on the person who wrote that software. So I want to be able to service these bikes, and I want to be able to, as an independent, it's frustrating for me because I can do the mechanical work to an extremely high standard, as good as, or to a certain extent, better than the dealer, because the way my shop runs, I'm not constricted by time. I'm not up against the clock. I don't have a foreman looking at his watch and saying, Emma, why haven't you finished that bike yet? I've got 10 more outside. It takes as long as it takes. And if I have to go back and do something a second time just to make sure it's right, I will.
Which is why you won't pay less anywhere else.
Right. But the stumbling block for me is always software.
I just saw that OBD2 reader at AutoZone, $38.
There you go. And now you can turn off check engine lights on Triumphs with that.
So I want to get back to, Mike, with the AMA. This is kind of a thing that is hard to navigate, because on the one hand, it seems like you do want to restrict who's getting access to these delicate things. But I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, is the AMA one of the things they're lobbying to do is to make it more affordable for these shops to get access to the software?
Maybe theoretically, the way because this hasn't really applied to motorcycling, essentially you have to look at how the automotive world has worked for the last, 10 years. Is, probably closer to 2012 than today with the newer, more advanced cars. That's kind of the model where it's never going to be perfect. And kind of the things we've just been talking about, the things where, you maybe don't want your average consumer or, independent repair shop that doesn't have access to the right equipment, just like Emma was saying with the, non-approved BMW ECU devices. If you had access to an approved one and knew it would work, you would have a lot less concern about what damage you may be doing to the motorcycle. And that goes for, appropriate repair information as well. If you can't get a service manual very easily, or it's way out of your price range and you're relying on somebody on YouTube telling you how to do something, you may be all right. You may not that the service manual is going to walk a absolute beginner through some complex things, but it should at least give them a clue of, okay, I'm out of my depth. Let me go ring up my local dealer, local independent repair shop who should have this information. And even going back a little further to the Zero, when it comes to the software and that stuff, it's not necessarily that it's just a different skill set.
Yeah.
As far as, the programming and software of a lithium-ion battery and electric motor, it's not in here. In theory, it should be relatively similar from one electric bike to another because you're doing the same thing just with somebody else's software controlling it. You move from more the mechanical skill set that we have in abundance in our independent repair shops to a software skill set that I imagine we're going to be growing pretty quickly as folks figure out their own third-party, non-approved ways to get into those bikes to make the changes they want to make them behave the way we want, because that's what motorcyclists have always done with these machines.
I see independent shops for the electric bikes, for the Zeros, for the Energicas. In 10 years' time, I don't see independent motorcycle shops. I see independent electric propulsion shops. So it's going to be the place where you take your Prius, or you take your Tesla, or you take your Rivian pickup truck, or you take your Zero. And it would be far easier to train an electric propulsion specialist on how to fit motorcycle tires and how to work on motorcycle forks and brakes, rather than teach a traditional motorcycle tech how an electric propulsion system works. So I that's how I see electric propulsion with the independents going. You will have like a one-stop electric propulsion shop, and that's where you're going to take anything with an electric motor.
Well, and let's face it, and I think part of the reason we need to have somebody like the AMA is the industry. It's in their best interest to get people to go back to their dealers, right? And we've seen it happen in the auto industry. When they first started going to the high security keys, now you have to go to a dealer to get a $600 key made, right? Now, my company happens to own a knockoff security key. They finally were able to crack the codes, and you can go to an Ace Hardware and get it for half the price of the dealership. That's how they priced it, half. Because why is it $600 at a dealership and $300 or $200 at an Ace Hardware store? What's the difference? Because they can charge you whatever they want. They've got you captive. They created an industry where you have to go back to them. Yeah. It's a monopoly. And so to be able to have lobbyists like the AMA to go, hey, hold on, no. There are some people who want to work on their own vehicles. We need to make that,
right.
Make it affordable and capable. Otherwise, it is in the best interest of the industry to lock you out and only let their dealers work on everything. I mean, do you agree with that, Mike?
Well,
like that's where people would go, companies would go if they could?
I think it's in their best interest in the typical short-term view that a lot of industry has taken in not just motorcycling. If they feel they have a pretty captive audience, locking them into their shops, their methods, and that's it. It looks pretty good. But if I'm in a different part of the country where I'm looking at a bike where I only have a dealer that's maybe 100 miles away, that might be reasonable for me to go out and buy a bike. But if I know I have to make that journey every time I'm going to get it serviced, That's going to change my mind. The long-term health of motorcycling, the ability for people to get their bike serviced where they want to get it serviced by people who have the parts and information to do it properly and for a reasonable price, because the dealers then have to compete, is going to be better for motorcycling in the long term, even if it's frustrating for, repair profits in the short term.
Right. An ideal scenario, I mean, in this huge soap opera that's motorcycling, there is a place for the co-op garages like the Recycle Garage. There is a place for independents like me. There is a place for dealerships. But the glitch comes, as you found out, Mike, that I think we wouldn't necessarily be having this conversation if you'd have called up your dealership and you'd said, listen, I've got the check engine light on my V4 Multi. And they said, come on down, let's turn it out for you same day. You had to wait a month. And so
I'm still waiting.
And you're still waiting. So, we
Yep.
need to release some of that backlog. And we need to sort of ease it a little bit. And I'm not sure how that's going to pan out, because everybody's short of staff. Everybody's short of staff.
Yeah, I went to go buy a pizza at Little Caesars today.
Yes.
Closed, no staff. There was a sign on the door. So, Patrick, did you say you were having a similar issue with your KTM?
I did, yeah. So I asked Emma about this 2 months ago. So I had changed some things on my KTM. I had removed the emissions stuff on it because I was like, oh my God, oh God forbid, right?
Scofflaw.
And especially in California,
don't
Jesus,
listen.
it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to deal with it. It's extra crap on the bike. It's hoses and everything everywhere. And I get a engine warning light.
You got busted.
All the time.
Big Brother's watching.
I know. And I get this engine warning light, and it's like, I'm blinking it. And it was hard to find the blink codes for that bike. It took me a couple days of looking online and trying to find it. And they were like, well, we've got the blink codes for the 990 from early 2000 and this and that and everything is so it's it seems like every model the blink codes start to change around. But I finally found one that that makes sense. It's the SAS system, the secondary air system on the KTM, and that's exactly what I changed. Makes a lot of sense. And I came to Emma one day and I said, hey, what would it take to flash the ECU? And Emma, you were like, not gonna happen, not on a KTM.
Yep.
Not gonna do it. And I was like, I kind of understand that. And when I looked more into this, they were like, when it comes to KTMs, they're very reluctant. Even KTM specialists, KTM technicians, they're reluctant to flash the ECU because you've done something that's no longer standard on the bike. A couple weeks later, I went to a dealership. I had some tires done on it, and I said, hey, by the way, I've got this engine light. Can you guys flash it? And they said, no. We will not flash it because this is outside of the standard. It no longer meets emission standards. And so now I just have to live with the fact that my little engine light is just going to flash on me all the time.
That's what tape's for. Little piece of tape.
And it's I was like, but that's the thing. I started off and I'm like, okay, it's the same blink pattern as last time. We're good to go.
But
it's nothing new.
Is that right to repair?
But I think it should
Is
fall
that,
under
Mike,
that.
is that right to repair?
I think it should fall under that. And I was like, I've modified my bike.
Or is this an example of why we shouldn't have the right to repair? Because as I said, that people are going to disable safety features.
Right, but the problem is with this is that little light is flashing.
Well, in this case, it's a requirement by the state of California that you're disabling that.
What
KTM installed.
What happens if another engine light starts flashing and I don't pay attention to it because I'm just like, that's just my
I think
engine light
he's
is
just
flashing.
given the argument of why we shouldn't have the right to repair.
No, but I think the argument is okay, if you're a halfway competent person, I know exactly what I did to this bike.
No.
Can I eliminate that problem so I can pay attention to something else that might be more critical?
I want Mike to answer this. Mike, can you answer it for him?
Well, I think the fact that you were able to find the code to know the light was from the change you made and not something else, that's the right to repair issue for it.
To an extent,
the dealer's decision to not, they can refuse to service it to a degree. Let's say if you had what Harley just got in trouble for with the FTC, if you had maybe done something different and put on an aftermarket pipe and then had some warranty work that needed to get done and got denied because of an aftermarket pipe, according to the FTC, Harley doesn't get to deny you that work.
So, but the next
This is
question I
different.
have,
This is not that. You made a modification. You know why that light is on. And their decision to not do it, like Liza was saying, whether it's between the emissions rules for it and what other changes, I'm not 100% sure. Most states have motorcycles under their lemon law, but if that's another thing. Whereas the more modifications you make, and if them flashing your bike creates some catastrophic error, but they may eventually have to be buying that bike back from you because you made a change they're unaware of. So I understand that their perspective perfectly. It's you having the information to make that change in the first place. That's the right to repair.
Right, but the other side of this equation is like, okay, so I made this change. Like, why can I not buy the computer from KTM, the factory, to say flash the ECU on my own, knowing full well the risk I'm doing in that? You know, most people can't do that, right? But like, I can't, as just a general consumer, I can't just buy the KTM diagnostic computer. Like, that has to be a KTM certified technician, right?
Well, and KTM's already got legalese that tells you that your warranty is going to be voided if you do this. So you're doing this with a full knowledge that you are not going to avail yourself of that warranty if you mess the bike up.
I know my warranty's gone.
So why can't they let you do that?
Right. And the crazy part about the KTM, it took me like 3 or 4 years of looking around online. Where do I find the service manual for this bike? This is a 2017 motorcycle.
And that's part
Haynes
of this
or whatever just released the service manual on this bike. And I finally, shortly after Haynes released that manual, I found the factory service manual for the bike. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it should not have taken this many years to find this.
So I'm going to ask the question, Emma. I want to ask you, because it sounds like this, I'm going to say this is equivalent to, Emma, have you seen where people will, let's see, pull the baffles out of their exhaust and put some eBay pod filters on and call it a cafe racer, make it run like shit, but it sounds really cool and looks really cool?
Yes.
So that's not right to repair, is it? That's right to mess it up. So what would happen on something that has a code, it's like, oh, no, you messed it up. You can't do that. Should you have the right to change, which is different from repair, I think?
Well, you see, the trouble is it's a broad umbrella. If you're getting a check engine light or an MIL light, which is the same thing.
That's what drove me nuts, because I was like, okay, I've got a check engine light.
Right. So
how do I diagnose this if I can't find the list of what these light codes are? And they say, well, it's published.
You found it eventually, yes, but you found it.
But they make it as difficult as possible to find that information. That's the thing.
And it wasn't actually for the bike that I own. It was for a different generation. And I'm like, it just so happened to line up. And it's like, you can't find, if I went up and looked at 2015 KTM Super Duke 1290R, you could Google that thing for months and you will never find the list of codes for that bike.
You know,
which is infuriating to me.
It is. Yeah. There is a blank area, particularly with KTMs. But ultimately, it was self-diagnosing. And I'll tell you the dodge that a lot of people do, and I'll say the same to you. If you change the exhaust, say, on a Gixxer or an R1 or a couple of years of R6, you'll get an engine light on. Because the exhaust valve, it's got a motorized exhaust valve. And the dodge is you leave the motor on. It's not connected to anything. And that puts the light out. So if we extrapolate that further, you need to put your air injection system back on just to have it disconnected.
The thing is like it's changed now with the new standards. So like my bike is one of those generations where like theoretically they're like, if they say you the dongle, right? It's a plug that goes into what it used to be. They're like, if you plug this in, but like I bought the dongle from KTM itself.
Yes.
Didn't do the job.
Right.
So they're like, the new bikes with the new European emission standards, they're like, doesn't matter how many dongles you put on it, it'll never reset itself ever.
Right.
And I'm like,
and that's just the way things are going.
And that's that's the emission standards, and they can't get around this crap somehow.
Well, that's Euro 4 emission standards. And I mean, it's just getting harder and harder for motorcycles and cars with internal combustion engines. The industry is gearing up to go electric.
So, I mean, this is a good question, Mike, and I'd like to understand more. So, for the AMA, again, you either have the industry, you have the consumer, or you have the middleman, the small shop. Who really are you protecting and looking out for?
First and foremost, our members are consumers. First and foremost, that is the end of the day. But we don't really have a choice if we're going to be legitimately be the consumer organization for motorcycling. We'd like to think we're a lot more than that, but that is a key function that we serve because there is an industry association. There is an association of independent repair shops that maybe not specific to motorcycling, but that exists at least in the automotive world. So we have to be there for the consumers.
Okay, so you're looking out for the consumer. I'm curious, since you guys have been following this, are you seeing any trends or have you seen any attempts that AMA had to step in and go like, whoa, we see where this is going. We need to have a talk.
Yeah, there's been, as more and more products you own, I think phones are kind of a very easy touch item for everybody because
not everyone has a John Deere.
yeah. You may not have $100,000 or something like that. That requires a technician to come out and change an air filter that you've been doing for the past 40 years.
Right.
But everybody's got a phone, and even if I'm certainly not capable of replacing a screen on it or something like that, the local electronics repair shop is, and so kind of through that frustration where folks have been with and it's everything from maybe your microwave, your toaster, or whatever you've spent, or your TV, other expensive consumer electronic products have gone in this direction of being harder and harder to repair, if repairable at all, and if that information is available. So we've seen, kind of in response to that, taking the right to repair that applied to the automotive world and trying to apply it to other products. And because that, it came out of this Massachusetts law that was only for on-road vehicles, not including motorcycling, then the memorandum of understanding that applied kind of nationally. So you have the state law that kind of birthed a national status quo in the automotive world. When states try and tackle it, they go, okay, well, motor vehicles are covered under this thing, so we don't need to legislate about that because that's technically taken care of. We don't need to open that can of worms. And what we've seen is, so you see a state law that will be basically mandate this information is made available for the public to repair these things except motor vehicles, because motor vehicles are already covered. And what we have seen is the industry will come in and say, hey, well, you meant you get rid of all motor vehicles, but in your state, the definition of motor vehicle does not include motorcycles. And clearly you don't want to include us in there. So you should amend it to get rid of on-road motorcycling. And by the way, off-road motorcycling, 4x4s, side-by-sides, ATVs, that shouldn't really be under this either, because that's its own weird can of worms, and you don't mean to cover things with motors like this. You're just looking at electronics, where in reality the bill's written that way because if they say all consumer products except motor vehicles, that's everything else, because motor vehicles are the one thing covered. That's the one part of the puzzle that they have in place. And by excluding them, they're covering everyone else. And then every little industry, motorcycling included, goes in there and goes, well, you don't mean us. You want us out of there. You don't want us to be part of that. And that's where we need to step in and go, no. We're just like motor vehicles. We have the same problems, the same issues. If anything, as complicated as motorcycling can be, the most advanced motorcycle maybe not as complicated as the most advanced car, certainly. I think the consequences of errors in certain safety components are far greater for us, but I think that's most apparent to the folks on the motorcycle.
Yeah, that is a good point. And thank you for your service. Because the AMA is looking out for stuff like this. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about that I know, Mike, that the AMA doesn't have an official stance on yet, and you're welcome to weigh in if you want. And I'm not sure what we're calling it. Subscription upgrades is what I'm calling it. Are you familiar with this? KTM just announced it, and this is something that Zero's been doing already.
Paywall for features.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
I was talking about the KTM 890 Adventure. Now, I'm not looking to get a brand new bike, but interestingly enough, the new 2023 KTM bike, they're offering an interesting feature. So when you first get the bike, it's going to be in demo mode. It's going to have all these features, right? That then will get locked down, and then you can pay to unlock them.
It's the sales pitch for the first month or so you own it.
Well, some people are saying that they'll just do demo rides out of the shop and then lock it up and you can pay. Some
might call that a bait and switch.
Yeah, some are saying that for the first 900 miles that you can try it out and then it locks down.
I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate on. Well, okay.
Let me say what for the KTM what these features are. Okay.
Yep.
So we're talking an optional rally mode, which is going to be all sorts of performance enhancements for suspension and everything. There's traction control and slide control, a quick shifter for both up and down shifts. So this is something that gets unlocked. Cruise control. You pay extra to unlock the cruise control. So these are things that the bike is capable of doing that will be locked down unless you want to pay. They haven't yet announced prices.
Right. So it just dawned on me in the last couple seconds, like, how many of those modes are you really going to get into when you're in that break-in period too? So like
it depends. If you're a hardcore adventure rider, you may want that rally mode.
No, I'm just saying you've got a brand new bike and like, I've got my demo mode for the first month, maybe 1,000 miles or whatever. Are you really going to get into some of those modes when the engine is still brand new and you're trying not to push it too hard?
Well, and here's the thing. They haven't yet announced if it's going to be a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription or a one-time fee. I haven't found the answer to that yet.
Well, like with my, like, I don't know how, like, it just kind of feels like not good. Like I don't like it. But with my bike, the Suzuki, for example, it came with a lot of like bells and whistles, I'll call it, that I wasn't looking for. But once you kind of got to experience it, you're like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. So I don't know how it plays in the conversation, but quick shifter, for example. I wasn't looking for a bike with a quick shifter, but man, it's pretty cool.
Great once you get used to them.
Yeah, and I think what's more interesting in this aspect would be things for touring, like cruise control. I don't use it much daily. There's one little spot I do just to kind of use it. But if I were going to AMA Vintage Days, for example, I would be using that thing all the time. So I could see, it's almost like my Garmin, my Garmin InReach Mini. I can upgrade my SOS service based on what I'm up to. Or not. So in some ways,
and that's
compelling.
So my phone is a good example. When I travel internationally, just when I'm overseas, my phone automatically just adds them to my charges. So like heated grips is a good example. If let's say heated grips were on a subscription service.
Ooh, it automatically hit it at 45 degrees.
But it's like if I'm using my heated grips, say 1 or 2 months out of the year, paying $2 or $3 a month, no big deal. Because the other, 10 months out of the year, I'm never going to use them, right?
All right, so you said heated grips. So Zero, Mike, do you know, is Zero the first company to introduce unlocking features that the bike is capable of doing? Are you guys tracking this at all?
Taking my AMA hat off.
Yeah.
As far as I know, I believe Zero is one of the first. I believe they're probably the first to do where you're doing it in the app, in the Zero app,
right?
Yourself. Whereas I believe dealers, in KTM's case, are the ones making these, keeping whatever features you want after the demo.
And while you're looking that up, Liza, I'm going to play devil's advocate with this. I see it as it's another way of buying accessories for your bike. It is no different than going down the dealership and buying heated grips, paying them to put it on.
I think it depends. It's like if it's a one-time fee.
Well, the Zero is a one-time fee.
If it's a one-time, then okay, yeah, I'm adding an accessory. But if I'm gonna pay $20,000 for a bike.
Well, so
is this something that should have come with the bike at this point?
Right. Especially if it's already equipped with it, why do you have to pay extra for it?
Well, so in the case of Zero, so here's some of the enhancements that they have. So if you want heated grips, I believe it's $195.
Right.
Which
To unlock heated
is
grips.
which is about the same what you would pay aftermarket for a set of heated grips.
No, I pay a lot less than that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
my KTM, you had to buy a KTM specific power part. It was like $150 just for the grips alone. Now,
And
I
then
installed
pay a
myself,
dealer to put it in.
But if
That's
if
KTM.
If you paid for a dealer, you'd be like $150 for the grips, plus in the Bay Area another $160 an hour for an install.
Well-
which all the install is like pull off the old ones, plug in the new ones, and off you go.
So let me tell you what features they have for. I'm looking at the 2023 Zero SR. If you want a 10% faster charge, $195 to unlock that.
So it's a one-time payment of $190.
195. If you want a 10% extended range on your battery, $1,300.
Well, it's just options. That's all it is. It's
$1,300.
upgrades.
Parking mode, and this is interesting. Parking mode, they realized, and we know this because Terry hacked his Zero, that you can hack it to go in reverse, right? If you turn the throttle the other way, it'll go in reverse. Now, the thing, you can go in reverse really at 70 miles an hour, which is crazy. So what they did is they created a thing called parking mode that puts it into a creep mode, forward and reverse. And this is just to help people, assist them in a parking lot. So you don't have to get off your bike and like pull it back into a space, put it in a parking mode. $195 to unlock a feature that the bike had the capability to do. It's just software. And here's the other one. This is called performance boost. Basically, they're going to let you turn it up and take the limiter off and go faster than what it's limited to. That's $1,800. So a lot of people at Zero got pretty mad because these were things that the bike was capable of doing. And they
artificially limited intentionally in order to sell the access to those features.
Which okay, so like we talked about this earlier, like when an internal combustion bike, they artificially limit the engine. Like the engineer goes out and designs this amazing engine. They artificially limit it for emissions. I kind of understand that a little more with electric. You don't need that. So why not?
It's not a legal requirement.
Yeah, why not just open the thing up and sell it to people? Like, look, okay,
Because it's about making money, son.
I know
we
it is
just-
about money because it's like, why not just sell it? Because it's like, okay, we can sell the performance to you. We can sell,
hang on a
we can sell
second.
the power, everything, and none of the emissions crap you have to deal with.
But
And you can
let me
feel
talk-
good in your heart about having a bike that does all these things better than any internal combustion engine bike can, and none of the environmental downsides.
But let's talk about money for a minute, though. Now, I have no idea what percentage of owners are actually unlocking these features. But say, for example, some of these are pretty expensive, like the no limiter.
Yeah, that was $1,800, I think.
$1,800
Yeah.
bucks.
A lot of money.
That's a chunk of change, and that's literally just a software switch that there's.
Yeah,
So-
no, I mean, yeah, they just like, okay,
Right,
in some
so-
cases, like, online, we just like switch it. So you go to bed one night and the next morning
Right.
you wake up and your bike's a totally different machine.
Right. So out of how many users are going to pay the money, $1,800 to unlock that? Is it going to be 10%? And if it's 10%, then why don't they just increase the price of the bike by $180?
I bet because
and let everybody have that.
I bet because those people finance those little additions. So you're like, I'll do that $1,800 and that $600. Oh, by the way, I'm going to finance it instead of $79 a month. Can I pay $84 a month? I don't know.
but
It
if
just
it's
seems
still-
like a
but if
marketing
it's-
ploy
right,
to
but if
try
it's
to
only-
make more dough.
No,
Right, but I'm saying if there's only 10% of users who are actually unlocking that, then it's not going to be the gangbuster cash windfall that the manufacturer thinks it is. And they'd probably be better off just increasing the price of the bike a little bit so that everybody can enjoy that and just leave it unlocked for everyone.
Well, I think
And it's going to make it it's going to be a better draw too, because then you don't have to pay these extra fees to get the fun parts. You get everything right off the bat, for an extra $200, $250.
I agree.
That's
with
not a bad deal.
I totally agree with what you're saying, and I think ultimately the market will decide. Right? I know personally, no one likes paying extra for stuff. You want to pay for it once and get what you want.
I think
but
it's
the market will see if this is a good idea
I think
or not.
it's a psychological thing because, like with electric,
Oh, it's totally psychological.
No, it's with electric. It's not like, oh, you're going to the dealership and getting a performance part. It's like, no, we're just
like
flipping,
Emma's Harley.
We're flipping a switch over line. So like a good example of this is like when you see all those like storms and stuff. Tesla's a great example of this.
Yeah.
Here's the hurricane. Oh, Tesla's decided that they're gonna just, for everybody in the hurricane zone, we're just gonna bump your range up to like, instead of 150 miles, just 250 miles, just automatically like that. And it's a great PR stunt. But it's like, dude, the car had that capability from the get-go. But nobody had paid for it, so nobody had it. But now all of a sudden, for this 2-week window, now that you're in a hurricane zone, we're just going to give it to you. And it's a great PR stunt.
Sure, but in that case, you are actually sacrificing the battery health, longevity for that, because you're using the buffer zones
but
in
the
that
thing
battery.
Is like you have to understand that like the battery, that's not a buffer zone of the battery. They were selling cars that had that capability all the time.
But that's what I'm saying.
All the time, and so like,
right.
they governed, if you will, their battery capability down lower.
Right, and all electric vehicles do that out of safety, and
right.
Because if you're maxing out the battery capacity, from full to empty every time, that battery's not going to last more than a year or two.
But the thing is they're selling vehicles that have that maximum battery capacity. You're paying for it, but like for the most people, well, we can sell it to you cheaper. And then, when the emergency comes along, we can open it up for you for this couple weeks time.
Right. Well, so it depends on how much of a false ceiling and false floor we're talking about too.
So I have a question. And again, Mike, I know AMA isn't on this yet, but I'm going to bring up some questions that I think, should be on the AMA's radar. Here's one question. Do these unlocked enhancements travel to the next owner of the vehicle? Or do they have to repurchase them again, yeah. Right? And again, is this something that is, somebody brought up, so if you're financing a bike, you're financing a fully loaded bike, do you have to refinance when you unlock more things? Like, does that raise the value of it for unlocking these things?
I mean, technology could even improve. Yeah. And if you had an electric bike for 2 years and after 18 months, they came out with a new flux capacitor, and you could plug it in for X amount of dollars, or maybe you would have to rent it for $30 a month.
So that is my question, Mike, because again, AMA doesn't have an official stance yet, but I'm just asking, is this on your radar? Is this something that the AMA is monitoring? Because I think more than right to repair, I think that this really does affect the consumer.
Yeah, no, this is definitely something I've been paying attention to. Yeah. I remember reading, part of my job is keeping up on the motorcycle industry and reading about it. And if I were to hazard a guess, if we took any sort of official stance, it would probably be limited to, as long as the consumer knows exactly what's happening here, that if this is a one-time thing, it will transfer when I sell, that all these questions we're asking have answers, and that going into it,
right? That
as an organization, we probably don't care beyond that. How the industry adapts if every feature becomes a subscription is a good question. One thing for me personally, taking the AMA hat off again, is everything we've been talking about just now. The main question I have is, how is this changing the MSRP? How much is this changing the cost to me if I decide I'm one of those people who I want one of the 10 features and that's all I want. I don't want to pay for the other 9. This might be great for me rather than, it's like, who's ever seen a truly base model BMW motorcycle out?
And we had discussed
there might be somebody out there who wants one thing, but they've got to buy 4 things to get it. So this might be good for them. The frustration I think that I feel for this is, especially when it's a bunch of hardware in the case of the KTM, all that hardware is there. KTM is paid for it.
Yeah.
And whether or not I'm paying to unlock it, my bike might be, 10% cheaper because I'm paying to unlock it, but I'm still paying maybe 2-3% more because those parts had to be built, had to be installed in the first place. So I may be saving some money, but I'm not saving as much if those physical parts weren't there in the first place. And when it comes to the software end of things, where it is just a switch, the cost to them was designing the software, and that cost is once, and maybe some updates. It's not a physical unit cost every single model sold, and that I find perhaps a lot more frustrating as a consumer, because it is truly artificial. But if it does bring the unit price down, if Zero has decided, okay, if we bring the price down this way, we're going to bring more people in and sell more of the bikes, but we don't necessarily know. We don't know what adjustments have been made on the consumer end. We are not doing the.
I think the advantage for Zero is if you're sending exactly the same product down the production line, it is cheaper to do. One of the great loves of my life, Mike, as well as motorcycles, are Jaguar cars. And people don't realize, this is a great analogy, back home in England, right up until the 90s, now they've kind of moved away a little bit from it now, but you could buy a Jaguar with manual transmission, rubber floor mats and wind-up windows, a very, very basic car. And you got that glorious engine and all that style. But it was a very basic car. And then they gave you the accessory book, which looked like a dictionary. It was that thick. And said, you can spec it out however you want. But if you just want the engine and transmission, and just the performance, you can buy the basic car. And that's what most police did. They bought these very basic cars. For America, they were very, very smart. They said, we're not going to do any accessories for America. We are going to put every accessory available on our Jags as one model. So every car had cruise control, every car had a moonroof, every car had power windows, every car had climate control, every car had every single option imaginable. It was basically one model. You just picked the color. And it was a brilliant marketing technique because ultimately the cost of the cars went down because they were only sending one model down the production line that had everything on it. And so I see the theory behind it in terms of bikes.
So it made it more cost effective.
It made it a lot more cost effective because you're not running 3 or 4 production lines with high spec, low spec. It is one line. Everything's spec'd out. And then I see it as just another way of buying accessories. It's a different way.
Well, and it's not necessarily. It's not like there's 4 different production lines. The way they do it, at least on the car side, is like they'll send a car down the line and it's got a spec on it. It's got a sheet that goes with it, and they put out a spec. The next car comes down, it's different spec. So the people building this, they have to. Oh my God, I got this part and that part and this part and this. It's missing. It's miss and match, and so
things get messed up.
It's very easy to every car coming out. It's all the same spec, the same parts, everything's standard. Yeah. It's cheaper to manufacture that way because every part's the same. Yeah, right. It's so, more economical.
Exactly. So pass that economic value on to the customer, and
I think they see they're doing that.
Right, but don't charge extra for these features. Just let everybody have all the features.
Unfortunately, what's going to happen is like, okay, yeah, they're gonna send, and I would love to see this. Where like, okay, you went out and bought a bike, and you decided I don't want all these features, so we're going to sell it to you for a much lower price. Then so like let's take for comparisons today a modern Euro spec bike. You're looking at 25K. Okay, we're going to sell this bike to you now with a lot less features, no ABS, all this stuff, and you're going to get it for, say, 22K. Great, I can afford that, but 3 years down the line, I want ABS. Okay, we can turn that on for you. And so by the time you turn all those things back on, you're back to that primo price. Maybe that makes sense because, like, today I can't afford a $25,000, $27,000 motorcycle, but over the next couple of years, I can start to afford those features. Great. What I'm unfortunately going to predict is that the manufacturer will decide we're going to still sell this bike for $27,000 because we know someone's going to pay for it, and they're down the road they're going to pay for all those accessories anyway. So we're going to increase our profit margins. That's the unfortunate part that I see what's going to happen.
We've seen this in the U.S. this already in the form of a California model and a 49 state model.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore because it's easier and cheaper to build to one standard.
Just make one standard vehicle, and it's cheaper for them to do it, but they're trying to make their profit margins go. So like The consumer loses at the end of the day because, like, hey, if we can sell a bike for a higher profit margin, why wouldn't we do that? That's really what it's going to come down to.
So,
I think they're questions of fairness and frustration on the consumer's part, knowing I have physical things or it's capable of doing things that I can't do because we don't know any of these numbers behind it. We know the cost we have to pay. We don't know if we're saving money, if we're at the end of the day, we're paying more money.
Yeah.
We can make a lot of assumptions, but we really don't know. We can only compare to the previous model year and hope that's a favorable comparison. And even then, we don't necessarily cost. Maybe they were losing money on the previous model year, or they're making a ton of money and now they're not. There's these back end numbers we really just don't have access.
I don't see it happening that, like, hey, like in a 2022 model, we're gonna sell for, say, $20,000. Well, in 2023, we're gonna come at it with, you can buy it with less features. I don't think that price is going to drop drastically. I think it's going to be the same price.
So here's the thing I found fascinating. When Zero announced this, and here's something that's interesting. This goes back to the 2020 models, the Cypher system. You can go back to a 2020 and unlock features on it that you haven't had.
Yeah.
And then when KTM announced this, there's a lot of negative responses. All right. Here's what I think is happening. First of all, we're not trusting the manufacturers that this is a better deal for us, right? We think it's just an advantage to them. So, Jim, how many versions of the Africa Twin are sold? And we're not talking colors. How many versions of the Africa Twin are available?
Back to like the 1820 models, I'd say 4. Yeah, I know 4. Yeah.
So there's 4. You have the standard and the standard DCT, and then you have the Adventure Sport and the Adventure Sport DCT.
Yeah, because every time I pull out the book, I got to figure out which one I got.
Yeah, right? So how would you feel if they just had the same motor on all of, you've got the standard, I got the DCT. That DCT is like almost like this little box that's installed on the motor, right? What if your bike came with that, had the DCT components, but it had manual clutch because you didn't pay to unlock it. But if you wanted to pay, it's about $1,000 more, I think, for the DCT feature. If you wanted to pay $1,000, you can go and they will unlock your DCT on your bike. Would you feel like, well, wait a minute, I already own it. It's on the bike. That's kind of shifty.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of this gets back to the psychology of it.
And you're being forced to carry around all that extra weight that you're not even able to use.
Well,
yeah, I get back to the psychology of it. It's like, you're going to look at it every day and be like, I don't even use that. And it's this thing sticking out. It'll just be irritating. Like having to pay extra for things. I like a lot of it is just, it's a psychology of thinking, I don't know, you're paying extra, you're being taken advantage of. So, that's what.
But since when they offer separate models, you're like, oh, I can either get it with or without.
Right.
But if they gave them all with, but then you had to unlock it, now you feel like, wait a minute.
I'll give you a basic.
That's more of a mechanical thing. It's like, we're changing the transmission. That's a totally different world. Versus software different. Is like software is, it's a little different. Like, yeah, we're opening up something that was already there to begin with.
Wait, but that's the key. It's software.
Yeah.
And once you're in the realm of IT, we pay for a lot of things that aren't tangible,
Right.
You can Netflix exists. Netflix is there, but you have to pay to be part
you know what
of
this
it.
reminds me of? I don't play video games, but I know kids and stuff do. I wonder how many adults will like drop $25 or $100 on a video game to get a different color thing for their GTA.
You
car
were using
whatever, right?
You were using Amazon Prime as an example. I'm an Amazon member, but I'm not an Amazon Prime member, and it exists. Every time I buy something on Amazon Prime's right there, but I don't want to kick down the extra subscription to get Amazon Prime. But it exists. It's right there, and I don't get frustrated about it. I'm not going to kick down for that. I don't need it tomorrow. And so it is with bikes. I think ultimately it may be a good deal for the consumer. And it's not that the manufacturers are necessarily trying to rip us off. The market will decide. So the market will decide what is a motorcycle, whether it's got electric propulsion or gasoline propulsion, capable of riding across the country with a high quality spec with heated grips and ABS and what's it worth? And then the market of its comparables, I think that's what'll determine the original price.
And the key to the market is competition.
Right, exactly.
Right, so zero, what kind of competition exists there? But I think if you have a healthy market with competition, I think the consumer typically does okay.
But using that with the heated grips as an example, as far as I'm concerned, if Zero want $93 to unlock their heated grips, or was it $193?
I think it's $195.
That's a bargain. Because if you buy... Wait a minute, Bagel.
No.
If you buy a bike without heated grips, and you buy genuine heated grips and then have to have them installed at the dealer, it's going to cost you a lot more than $193.
But Emma, you're buying a bike that has heated grips. You're buying a bike that has heated grips with the switch turned off, and you're paying somebody $193
but it's software.
to turn the switch on.
It's a different way
it doesn't
of
matter.
buying it.
It doesn't matter
does.
if you have a physical switch. If you have a physical switch that has a physical padlock on your handlebars that you can't get off, that you have to go to the dealer and pay them $193 to take that padlock off so you can turn that switch on.
Exactly the same as
bullshit.
paying. It's exactly the same as paying your dealer the same amount to have heated grips put on.
No, because your bike's not already equipped with the heated grips, because the heated grips are the expense. And when you have a bike that already has them installed, that expense has already been paid. And to put that behind a firewall, I think is anti-consumer. It is.
Unfortunately, I hate to burst the bubble here. Like, we all think this is new. This is not new. Like, I work in industrial.
Oh, my bubbles burst.
No. So check this out.
What's that meant?
Bubbles. No,
there's a piece of machinery.
No,
there's a piece of machinery I've worked around where, like, there's a feature on a piece of machinery that, like, it's considered standard in modern machinery. When this piece of equipment was bought, it had an option. Do you want this option or not? If you want this option, it's another $11,000. They decided not to have it. All it literally is a guy comes out and he just switches a little bit in the software. It isn't. It's not a physical switch. It's just a bit in the software, and that's for $11,000. But they were doing this back in the early '90s.
Right,
It's always been around.
Right,
It's always
been
been
a problem
around.
for a long
Back in the
time. It's becoming more
1600s.
prevalent now.
I know, but it's always been around, and unfortunately, companies have gotten wise to this, and it's like, well, shit, they're going to buy it anyway.
Right,
Like,
companies
why
have
don't we
gotten
just
wise
charge
to
them
this
for
because
it?
right, companies have gotten
And that's
wise to this because consumers have not.
And but the thing is, there's no way to change it, unfortunately. And I'm not an advocate for it, and yet here we are.
So
It's up to the companies to change that because they need pressure from the consumers.
The companies won't change it because they're like, we don't care. They're going to pay for it one way or the other. Like, and now we're going to make our money.
Liza, do you need the talking stick?
Go for it. I'm sorry.
So I was going to say, you said this has been around, and it has. We were out in the garage today talking about this, and Michael was mentioning he was helping somebody work on their truck or van that didn't have the air conditioning option.
Right.
Yeah. And he's like, hey, you know that your truck actually has a compressor and everything in it. They just didn't put the switch on the dash.
That's nice.
Because they didn't order, but the truck came with it all in
because
there.
it's
But if you ask for the enhanced,
ridiculous.
the upgrade, then they
Because
give you a switch.
you know why?
Check
Because
my
that's
Toyota
it.
now.
the engine,
Seriously, it might be
because
wired
in that
for fucking
situation,
110.
the engine was built in the different factories, so they just build the same engine, just one after the other, and they just drop it in the vehicle, and it's the assembler's job to decide, hey, is this have air conditioning or not? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And then the people with all the yeses, they get the switch, and the people with the no's, we don't get a switch. But it's mechanically, it's all there. I mean,
it's all there.
This has been going on since probably the 70s or 80s. Yeah. Just nobody's noticed it until now, because it's like, oh my God, like software, we're so used to having all the options, and now they're like, nah.
Oh, it's where you draw the line. You know, I helped a friend many years ago. We pulled apart a 1947 Cadillac. And 1947 was the first car with AC as an option.
Post-war.
But what you didn't realize was every single 1947 Cadillac had the trunking for the AC already fitted in the roof. the trunking was in, the box in the back was in for the AC because it had front and rear AC.
It's because it's cheaper to manufacture.
There you go.
One set of tooling
there
to
you
build
go.
that component.
And all the trunking was in there.
Wow.
I mean, it was spec'd out for AC.
No.
It just didn't have the AC parts because it was cheaper to make that
Because
way.
again, on the manufacturer, at the end of the day, it is cheaper for them to build one set of tooling to make one type of part.
Called the trunk.
But that
then
benefits the manufacturer.
manufacturer,
So
yes.
I want to ask Mike one more question because I know it's late for him. Thank you for sticking with us, Mike. There's been so much of the consumers have negative response to these paying for enhancements, even though we've got precedents throughout history and different industries. Why do you think people respond so negatively to this?
I think it's largely what we've been saying here, and Bagel in particular, like your points, I largely agree. If this stuff is coming here, the perception is that I'm being charged for things I already paid for. I'm not necessarily saving money. It doesn't appear that way to the consumer because we don't necessarily know any better. We can make a lot of assumptions about it, and it seems clearly that's probably the case. But that's why it bothers me, even if I understand there's good reasons. And I think you can probably look to the last 10, 20 years of cell phones to look at what features used to be behind a paywall that you don't have to pay for anymore. Like, I remember when I couldn't make my phone a mobile hotspot, and now I don't, it would tell me I have not paid for this with my subscriber, and now it doesn't ask me that anymore. It just works. And to tie this back to right to repair, if I take off the AMA hat and put the tinfoil hat on.
Join the team.
Plug-in electronic diagnostic tool that your dealer has is what they use to unlock some of these features in the KTM case.
Right.
Now, if it's available to me, they're going to have to figure out a way to block out those things because I'm not paying for them if they're going to continue to do this. So that might be another reason to block access to some of these diagnostic tools because they're the ones they use to make their money on that end. And that may be the case, it may not, but it seems probable.
Or on the flip side, maybe that's a reason why they shouldn't even have these paywalls in the first place, to make those diagnostic tools available to everybody so that everybody can diagnose their bikes and work on them.
And I think to a lot of the points we've been making throughout this, the knowing you have the equipment there, whether it's the battery capacity, performance, or the quick shifter that just the electronic function is turned off, and how much money it costs is an incentive for a third party to make a workaround that may not work, but consumers may try. So there's by putting that wall there, you're encouraging people to climb over it, and that may be very difficult to do, but somebody will eventually figure it out, and maybe they'll only half figure it out. And I think that's why having access to the right information first, right to repair, is very good for the consumer, because otherwise you're going to be working with an incomplete picture at best. And I think this new model, we certainly haven't seen the end of it, and I think manufacturers will continue to innovate. I think,
yes.
And like we've said here, the market's going to decide one way or the other.
And at least this is my opinion. Like, I feel like, okay, if a manufacturer is going to manufacture a product, they're going to sell it to you. Once they sell it to you, it's fair game. It's like, look, we sold it to you. Whatever you want to do with it, it's not our problem. We're not liable for anything you do with it. If it's dumb and it's risky, again, we sold it. We just built it. We're not liable for what you did with it. So, like, that's why I'm a firm believer in right to repair. Like, you bought the piece of equipment, you wanted to work on it, not our problem. But don't expect us as a manufacturer to come back and fix it for you if you screwed it up. That's really what it should be.
Well, but then it becomes hard because each bike you buy does have a warranty. And
right. Well, but there's limitations to this warranty. So, like,
absolutely.
There's an industrial piece of equipment that I work with, and it's notoriously funny about this because, like, if you call this company and you ask them, how do I do this? And the first question they will ask, this is a German company, the first question they ask you, have you read the service manual? Oh, no. Well, go read the manual and then call us back. Yeah. Okay. So you go read the manual, and then why did they tell you to do this? Because in the manual, you bought this equipment. That manual is in a complete 100% tear down manual. They'll show you the parts for it. They'll do all this. Everything in that manual is there to fix it, repair it, rebuild it. Why can't every other vehicle be like that? So just buy it, you own it, that's it. Now, if you screw it up, we'll sell you the parts. We ain't going to fix what you screwed up, though, and that's what it is.
So, Mike, thank you for bringing it back around to the right to repair. And that's why I said at the beginning, they're two separate subjects, but they are related. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing your opinion.
And if I can just put in, Mike brought up a very valid point, which I don't think any of us have actually considered. When it comes to unlocking these features, maybe in 5 or 6 years or even less time than that, the way things are going, there's going to be this vibrant aftermarket pirate stuff that you can actually, just like with heated grips, you can buy the genuine heated grips or you can buy cheap knockoffs. Well, it's the same with the unlocking the software. You can buy the genuine Zero software at $193, or there's this pirate software that maybe not quite as good, but it'll get the job done at $50. Plug it in, boom, you've got your heated grips.
And what if you figure out how to hack it for free?
There you go. I mean, if you've got
your bike, then
if you've got that skill, there you go.
Right.
So, Mike, before you go, I just wanted to ask you one more question. Are there any secret projects you're working on for the AMA you can share with us?
Let me pull up a couple pictures. I got a chance to tour some automated vehicle testing facility, which the testing ground is not all that interesting. And it's not exactly the most interesting to look at, but I got to see a demonstration of this goofy thing.
He's showing us a picture of a bike in a...
It is.
Looks top secret.
It's basically a crash test dummy motorcycle. So it's a foam motorcycle that's on a remote control skateboard, essentially.
Wow.
So if you're going to test how well...
Sounds like good for AMA finish days.
I'm following.
If automated vehicles, your adaptive cruise control, automatic emergency braking, if you want to know how well those see something, you need the target.
You're right.
This is the motorcycle target.
My dad worked for NHTSA growing up, so crash test dummies and all that. We had the NHTSA safety vehicle at my house, the legendary one from the 70s. And I've seen so many cars being crashed for safety features, but I've never seen motorcycle set up like that. So is this also to test like gear and stuff like that?
No, this is to test cars. This is
solely to test crash avoidance.
Yes.
Because of all the people being run over by Teslas.
Yes. Motorcycles.
And so they've had this for like essentially a fake car for quite a long time. Because they need to be able to test something and not ruin both vehicles at the same time. So they have this thing that they can blow apart into a handful of pieces, reassemble, and redo the test. And they have one for motorcycles now. It's been around, and this is just one I happened to see. And
interesting.
Where was this in Ohio? Where was this?
It's a secret.
This was at a kind of a conference of automotive testing and sensors, which is way beyond me. But this was just one thing that was there. It was done in Michigan. This one particularly is built by some folks in Southern California. It's not the only one out there, but there's all these little things that really matter for radar in particular. And one of the things that's really important is the wheels on this fake motorcycle have to spin the same speed the motorcycle is going. For accurate radar return. But of course, those wheels are foam and not actually working. But they have a little fin on them that makes contact with the road that will get them to move to have an accurate radar feedback. And if we want to do the kind of testing to make sure the Teslas, the GM Super Cruise, all those other things see us, they need to be testing, and they need to be testing with something that's safe to test with, and that is it.
And I know this is something you guys have been working on, the awareness of the cars. This has been a big topic, so that's awesome.
Yeah, wasn't a dude just killed out in the Midwest somewhere with a Tesla? Yeah, we came up on him in a fast lane. Is that what happened?
So
did they get to the bottom of that?
So what's happening is there are motorcycles in the lane, and a Tesla doesn't recognize it, and it comes up behind it and just runs them over. Now, when I looked into it, there's a couple things. One, I heard that they stopped putting the LiDAR into the Teslas because they believe that the algorithm in the camera was good enough to identify everything.
I would say they never had
It's the
LiDAR in the
radar.
Okay. Radar?
Elon has come out and said he does not believe LiDAR is necessary for these things.
They've never had
the radar.
Okay, they didn't have it.
I don't want to.
I thought the earlier ones. I thought earlier ones did.
They never had LiDAR, and just recently Tesla announced that they're removing the ultrasonic sensors. So it's the little sensors that are about the size of a quarter in the bumpers.
Because the camera algorithm is being improved enough that they believe in that. But also, I've heard that on some of these motorcycles, there were things like, believe one of them had the taillight removed and it had a side mount license plate and taillight, or that the lighting may not have been where the camera is looking for it to pick it up. So I think there might have been some modifications to the bikes.
From the three I'm aware of, one in Riverside, California, one in, I believe, Salt Lake City, and a third one in Florida. They were all, I believe, all cruisers. Yeah. It was dark out, either very early morning or late at night, on the expressway doing regular traffic. And I think the speculation is that those two rear low to the ground taillights on those specific models to a camera that is only learning by examples, millions and millions of examples of other cars, sees those two small lights close together, close to the ground, and doesn't realize that's a close motorcycle, thinks it's a far car.
Yes, exactly.
That is
wow.
That's been nice. And this is something too.
Unfortunately,
I left Vintage Days this year on early morning on Sunday to get back to meet with the number 2 at the U.S. Department of Transportation. Yeah. And it was about scenic byways, not about necessarily. We were just a user of these nice roads we all like to preserve and things like that. But when Polly Trottenberg came in, we're going to talk about motorcycle safety for half of this meeting that I didn't set up, so I felt a little guilty about that. But the Utah crash had happened the week before, and we talked about that for 5 or 10 minutes with the number 2 person at USDOT, which talk is cheap, but that was a lot better than I think we've seen for multiple administrations.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing your secret work.
Happy to.
The secret styrofoam bike on a skateboard. I think that's a barrel racer right there.
Forthcoming story in the magazine about testing in general with this. We've been talking about the doom and gloom in these tragic stories for a long time. I kind of wanted to highlight some of the work that's being done to kind of correct these issues. So we'll hopefully have an issue in the next few months in the magazine that will cover some of of the work being done.
Yeah, I might give you a call to come on and talk about it. So thank you.
Keep up the great work,
Mike. And
thank you.
It's ama.org. No, American Motorcyclist Association. AmericanMotorcyclist.com. We all say be a member. There's a lot of good reasons why you should be a member and support it because they are supporting us. Mike, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Happy to.
Thanks.
All right.
9 o'clock on Sundays is pretty easy for me. And if anybody your listeners want to reach out to the Government Relations Department.
Yes.
Grassroots at ama-cycle.org. That reaches out to our department.
Perfect.
Great. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Cool.
Keep fighting the good fight, Mike.
Yeah, cheers.
Will do.
Thanks, Mike. Take care.
So, that's a lot of controversy going on, but the industry is changing.
It's controversial, I tells ya. Controversial.
You know what isn't very controversial?
What's that?
Little Hondas.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, they are.
Little Hondas.
They are.
And you know what also doesn't have a right to repair issue?
Little Hondas.
Honda mini bikes.
Honda mini bike.
Because they are ultimately the bikes that anyone can repair.
And guess what time it is?
Time to get ill.
Time for Bagel's History Hole.
It's time
Part
for a
2.
Really?
Mini Bagel History Hole.
Fantastic.
Did you know that we did a Bagel's History Hole Part 1? I think that was, you weren't here then.
I wasn't here.
Right. So Part 2.
We almost had it when you were here.
Part 2. Bagel, because you were talking about the Honda Cub.
Yes.
And then you wanted to start talking about the mini bikes, and I cut you off.
Because the Honda Cub has, over its 70-year history, has reached its tentacles into all sorts of different areas of motorcycling. It's amazing just how much that engine design has infiltrated the motorsports industry across the world and still influences it today. But today, what I want to talk about is the mini bikes that Honda came out that were based on the Honda Cub engine. because as I mentioned previously, the Honda Super Cub had started in 1958, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
Right. And shortly thereafter, Honda used that same engine to create a new series of mini bikes that, and I'm not sure if there really were many mini bikes before then. Emma, can you fill me in if there were any mini bikes prior to 1960?
No, I mean the mini bike genre prior to 1960, motorcycles were really seen as quite serious things. They were serious sporting devices, and they were for grown-ups. Yeah. And so the whole mini bike thing was born out of baby boomers. All these people who came back from the Second World War and started very, very young families, and suddenly there's all these kids running around. Oh, let's put kids on motorbikes, it'll be great. And so that was where the whole mini bike genre started. And Honda were absolute pioneers with that.
Yeah. So this all started back around 1960 or so. And where the first mini bike that Honda developed is what became known as the monkey bike.
Yeah, the monkey bike.
A super, super tiny 50cc motorcycle. Now, the original bike that was known as the monkey bike was first developed as a carnival ride for an amusement park in Japan, believe it or not. So essentially, Honda developed these little tiny miniature motorcycles to use on this carnival ride. And I don't know the details of the carnival ride. I don't know if they were like fixed to something or if you could just ride them around, free. I have a feeling they were probably fixed to some sort of thing and you could ride them and put them along.
Emma, I'm looking up at a model up on the wall here. When did the Rupp Roadster come out? Is that?
The Rupp. No, that's late 60s.
Oh, okay. Then,
that's right around 69, 70.
Yeah.
Rupp.
So around 1960, Honda was, I believe, the first ones to come out with a proper mini bike as the monkey bike. Now this amusement park bike was really just kind of a novelty, but people just kind of loved it, and the monkey bike moniker came about because when full-grown people would sit on this little tiny miniature motorcycle, they looked like some sort of gigantic monkey sitting on top of a tiny bike, and so people called these little monkey bikes, and that's where the name started from this carnival ride, and because people, I guess the reaction to this carnival ride was so enthusiastic, Honda decided, you know what? Let's make this an actual bike that people can buy. So in 1961, they came out with the first official monkey bike for sale. That was called the CZ100. Now, this bike had 5-inch wheels. It is that small. 5-inch wheels.
Woo. Well, hold on.
Well, you can switch it out with the wheel.
The rims were 5 inches, but had big, thick tires. Yeah,
sure.
Okay.
I mean, they had 3.5 series tires or something like that, but 5-inch diameter rims. So these are tiny, tiny, tiny wheels on this tiny little bike. They also had folding handlebars where there's a little, a nut on the back that you can unscrew with your hand, and you push the bars forward on the little screw shaft. And there's a little notch on the triple tree where these handlebars have a notch that fits inside of. So when you unscrew it and push it forward, you can swing the handlebars down to the side and then pull them back in and screw them in with the bars in the down position so that you can take this little miniature motorbike and put it in the trunk of your car. Or store it in your RV. Or put it on your boat. And you can take it wherever you go. And that was sort of the idea behind this little mini bike, is that this is the ultimately portable transportation that you can take anywhere you need to go. So what they did was they mounted the 50cc Super Cub engine to a tiny, lightweight, thin tube steel frame that was a hardtail design. It did have lights and a speedo. And the very first model came with a flat sort of plastic tank that went in front of the seat. that didn't quite look like a motorcycle tank.
I have a question.
Liza. Yes, you had a
Were
question.
these bikes being designed for children or adults at this point?
At this point, I think they were designed for adults.
Okay.
Because they were designed to be a very portable, very easy to use miniature motorcycle that you could use in situations where you couldn't fit a full size motorcycle. And
maybe it was one where, like, as an adult, you felt, I'm going to buy it for the kid, knowing you're going to ride it 80% of the time.
I am sure that some people did, buy it for kids because it is obviously kid sized. Right. So, but originally it was marketed towards adults, but obviously, there was a big kid market there that grew, and very quickly, I'm sure that caught on. But that flat plastic tank didn't last very long, and within about a year or so, they had replaced it with a more motorcycle typical tank that had was painted red with chrome panels on the sides and black rubber knee pads. That made it look a little bit more like a motorcycle, and that was basically the original monkey design that carried on for several years. The bike was renamed in 1968 to the Z50A, and they also put some upgrades on the bike at the same time. They upgraded the wheels from 5 inches to 8 inches. It was still a hardtail, but at that when they changed that model designation, they also removed the lights and speedo, where they kind of were planning this to be more of an off-road bike. But because there was enough demand for this bike to be ridden on the roads, people wanted that light, headlight and tail light. So eventually they did add that back. But the speedo did remain left off of the monkey from then on.
It makes me realize these bikes, like the Trail 70, you could either get it with lights and turn signals or without.
Yeah.
How would you feel if it came with those lights, but you had to pay extra to,
to turn them on? Exactly.
I'd be so mad.
Right?
Here, we're going to install a fuse for you, and it's good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So then the next upgrade to the monkey bike was in 1972 when the Z50A got a soft tail rear suspension added. And this made the bike ultimately more useful as an actual motorcycle, so that you weren't just bouncing around on a hardtail all the time on your little tiny tires. But then in 1979,
good year for bikes.
Yeah, the monkey line had sort of a split where the monkey bike was discontinued in the U.S. But the original monkey did continue in Europe as the Z50J. But they put a different tank on that was sort of a more rounder, bulbous tank. But in the U.S. market, they changed the monkey bike to what became the Z50R, which was a
race version.
Right, which is a true mini dirt bike. And now this is when Honda really started going after the youth market, because this was a bike that was just definitively geared towards kids to get them into off-road motorcycle riding. So the evolution of this monkey bike, it's kind of started off as this novelty and sort of like a real niche mini bike, but then slowly morphed into what would become the starter bike for little aspiring dirt riders to use in getting their feet off the ground and running on two wheels. So that was sort of the history of the monkey bike. Sorry, I've lost my spot here.
Uh-oh.
There were a couple of additional changes that they made. There was also an XR50R mini dirt bike that came out in 2001. That was the next evolution of the monkey bike, but by that point it was a total just mini dirt bike for kids. And then the last note on the monkey that I wanted to mention is that the 2019 Monkey 125, that was the retro model that Honda came out with, is not an actual monkey bike.
Wait, what?
The 2019 Monkey is a repackaged Grom.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
the monkey, to qualify as a monkey, it has to be a 50?
Well, it doesn't have the original monkey tube frame. It doesn't have the Cub style engine. This basically was a Grom that was redesigned to look like a monkey bike.
Yeah, but I completely 100% support that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that there's any problem with that. I think it's a.
You're just calling it. You're calling him out. You're saying it's a fake.
I'm calling him out. I'm saying it's not a continuation of the same DNA.
You're not a real monkey.
But,
what are you doing?
But it is a lovely retro.
It's a cheeky monkey. It's a cheeky. Are you a cheeky monkey? Are ya?
It's a 125, so you know it's a cheeky monkey.
It's a cheeky monkey.
So that's the history of the monkey line. But that is not the only mini bike that Honda made.
But I'm going to stop you there.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry, Bagel. We're going to have to chop this up.
Oh, man.
Part 3.
But I want you to go from this into the email that I sent you.
You cheeky monkey.
Because it is related.
Funky monkey.
All right.
He's a cheeky monkey. He really is, you know.
So I didn't know that the monkey ran for that long. All from that same 50cc.
Oh, yeah. Turned it into a
That came
dirt bike,
from
too.
the original Cub. That's pretty interesting.
Would you like to know who else is a cheeky monkey?
Who's a cheeky monkey?
Who's a cheeky monkey? Haley Bell. Haley Bell's a cheeky monkey.
Northern monkey.
She's a little northern monkey. She's very cheeky.
All right, Bagel, you got that email?
All right. So I have this email here from Eli Bowers.
Hey, Eli.
And Eli writes, "Hello, Misfits. I thoroughly enjoyed Bagel's segment on the Honda Super Cub from a few episodes ago.
Super Cub?
I picked up one a few years ago for $400 with a seized engine.
Yes.
Who parks a bike without a spark plug? Well,
I'll tell you who, cheeky monkeys. That's who.
Yes, and the previous owner of my Henkel Tourist did too.
He was a cheeky monkey and all.
Yes, he was.
He's a German cheeky monkey.
All right, settle down, Emma.
Sorry.
Yes. So he says it is a 1969 CM91, which has a 90cc engine, a 6-volt electrical system, and a 3-speed semi-automatic transmission, 1 up, 2 down.
Mm-hmm.
After a top-end rebuild, among other things, it runs pretty well and still has a great barn patina. For the Super Cub enthusiasts out there, Honda released the CM91 alongside the CM90 in the mid-60s. The difference being the CM90 had a pushrod actuated valve system and the CM91 had an overhead cam. I plan on taking this bike on some longer trips, perhaps some day trips at first, and then moving up to a scooter cannonball if the route and timing works out.
Whoa, on a 1969 50cc Super Cub.
Across town, that's a long trip for that bike.
No, so Cannonball's across country.
Yeah.
After all, the bike has a 78% handicap and decent top speed, about 60 miles per hour.
Whoa.
Do it, man. That's awesome.
My question is this. I hear mostly about the accolades and reliability of these bikes, but what are the mechanical weaknesses? Are there any inherent faults to its design? What upgrades do you recommend, if any, to prevent a breakdown or make the bike more rideable for long trips? Thanks, Eli from Michigan.
Emma, do you know the answer to that question?
Oh, I mean, there's so many. As with any bike with a very, very small oil capacity, I mean, oil is absolutely the lifeblood of this engine. So change it often. It's got a centrifugal oil filter, which lives behind the clutch, unfortunately. So actually,
inside the clutch.
Yeah, it lives within the clutch, and you don't have to completely dismantle the clutch to get to it. But you have to take the casing off. It's got a screen that's in there as well. I'm looking at the Honda book, and I'll tell you what. According to the Honda Bible, the CM90 was made from 1966 to 1969. Here's the thing, though. It says it's overhead cam.
Oh, but his is a CM91.
Yeah, CM91. No, it says CM91.
Yeah,
CM91, Honda 90, CM91, 66 to 69, overhead cam.
Yep.
So can you turn that into a 12-volt system?
No, it'd be quite hard
to do a Cannonball on a 6-volt 69 bike, your lights are going to suck. So I think you need to come up with a better lighting system.
I mean, the very late ones had 12 volts, but I'm not sure whether you'd be able to squeeze them.
And this is something that I still need to look into, but I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of 12-volt conversion systems, because a lot of the Lifan engines that are basically just clones of the Cub engines, they're all 12 volts these days. So
that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that you can find, some 12-volt upgrade systems. The question is to find the right one for that engine. It might take some research and digging to find the right one, but
for doing something like the Cannonball, I mean, because Bagel, you ride at night, during the dark. Yeah,
right. You need to have good light for sure.
Yeah,
especially if you're riding on a smaller bike when you're going to be taking longer time to get in the day. One of the other things about the 12-volt conversion is that 12-volt batteries are shaped differently from 6-volt batteries for motorcycles, and now I've only just scratched the surface on this so far, because this is something that I'm looking into for my own bikes, is how to convert it to a 12 volt. And especially when you have this little square shaped section inside the frame where you were supposed to fit a 6-volt battery in, how do you fit a longer rectangle shaped 12-volt battery in there? Or do you have to mount that?
Well, I mean, the answer,
somehow?
much as I hate to admit it, because I don't actually approve of them in bikes, is a lithium ion.
And Shorai does make lithium ions that will work with these, but they're also a different size, though. That's the problem.
I mean, of all bikes, though, that would probably be okay with a lithium ion, a vintage Honda small bike, because it'd be a low draw and it would be a low charge.
Exactly.
Because, lithium ion batteries, we know, don't like changing volts quickly.
And it's very simple. It's very straightforward. It's it's providing a
do you think he needs to take some pistons with him? I don't know.
No, I think he just needs to take a plentiful supply of clean oil and just take it easy and understand that the top speed of that bike is probably 50 miles an hour. So his cruising speed is probably going to be about 45.
All right.
And just,
but with any Cannonball prep, you're going to need to bring tools. You're going to need to bring spare parts. You're going to need, especially on this bike, you're going to need to make sure your load is as light as possible, because this is a bike that's not going to be able to carry a lot of weight.
Bring tubes.
Tubes
are
important. And because finding those on the road is not going to be easy.
I think Jim's got the most important one.
Tubes. Well, no, I'm looking at this bike. It's got lovely patina. It's fantastic.
I need you to put that sheet of paper down, pick up the other one.
No, I'm going to read this one because this is from a very dear friend of mine.
Eli. I hope we helped.
This is from Bruce Phillip. And Bruce...
Philip.
Ah, yes.
Yes, I beg your pardon. Yes, it is Philp. And Bruce did an interview with me on This Motorcycle Life. He has a wonderful podcast.
Yes.
Lovely gentleman. Anyway, Bruce says, just listen to your couples therapy episode. And he thought it was hilarious. You might be giving up on that 890 too easily, Liza. Just finishing my third season on a 790 adventure, and it checks more of your particular boxes than your colleagues gave it credit for. If you get tempted again and want to hear the good and the bad about that bike, hit me up. Bruce.
Well, isn't the 790 a little more sporty?
I've been seeing a lot of 790s too. I want to try one out and see.
Are you gonna?
Yeah, I want to try one out.
Is it
so he also sent a PS along. Good. He said, concerning the Africa Twin,
PS.
Doubling down when the love is gone is always a mistake. I know, because the last time I did that, it cost me a house.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like counseling. Just skip the counseling and pay the lawyer.
Which actually you owe me for that couple's session, Liza. You too, Africa Twin.
I have an update on that.
Isn't that a thruples session at this point, though?
Well, here's the thing.
You didn't have anything good to say about that bike today.
But every time I walk in, I'll be honest, I'm attracted to that bike.
It's Captain America.
I am I mean, it is
a little
beautiful.
Motosexual.
I love looking at it more than I like riding it. Is that weird?
Oh no.
Well, your
I
triple's
mean,
like that too.
Yeah.
Your Yamaha.
I get the same thing, but I ride him whenever I go in the garage and I see Rufus.
I'm just.
God, that thing is beautiful.
I know.
You really can think a bike is the greatest looking thing. The difference is I love riding Rufus. You've kind of fallen out of love with riding Africa Twin.
Pakistan did it. I'm telling you, those little bikes, shifting
We'll
10,000 times a day.
I'm having to really dig down deep and make a hard decision. But I haven't listed it for sale. It's not that easy for me to cut the ties because it's a beautiful bike.
Yeah.
It really is. And it is a very capable bike if I was just going to do the things it's capable of doing. Anyway, stay tuned. I'm sure this will be a long drawn out.
Do you remember that song, By the Time I Get to Phoenix?
No.
No, it was it's a very famous song about a guy who's going through a breakup and he's
Can
leaving.
you hum a couple bars?
No. But I was going to say it could apply in your case by the time I get to Hunza.
We'll see.
Well, don't throw out the cruiser idea either. I think that's kind of an interesting thing
Liza
to
on a
explore.
cruiser.
She mentioned it, so I
Hey, I tell you what. Really?
Some
Look,
American
I got a thing
iron.
I got a thing for Dyna Bros, man. I want to be a Dyna Bro.
I got a Dyna.
Just do it. Yeah. You want to. Everybody wants you to do it. Just make it happen.
I tell you what. Let me tell you something about Dynas. Because I wasn't expecting to enjoy...
She has her arms crossed.
No, I wasn't expecting to enjoy that bike as much as I have been. They're great. They really are.
Okay.
And I mean, it will scratch an itch for you. Whether it's the itch you want scratching, I don't know, but it will.
Or I can just get some ointment for that.
Yeah, some ointment. Because it's a hog, you see.
Yes.
Tra-la-la.
Well, we'll see. Well,
Beautiful paint, though. The tank is beautiful.
Some Dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
Oh, good one. Hey, Patrick, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
filling
having
in
me
since
on.
Stumpy John is still out of town.
Is he playing Florida Man right now?
He is playing Florida Man.
I think he's got 15 of his 60 days left. So
I hope he's not
Without
wrestling
the
any
option.
alligators.
Well, he sent us a very cute photo today. I didn't get to see it, Jim.
Him and the rest of the cell
he's
block?
Back, he's
the
back.
work release program.
He's back home
After the
with his
sling
family,
blade.
and he found
kidding,
a
John. I'm just
newspaper
kidding.
article with a picture of little John Liotti,
Look at
aged
that.
4, sits astride his mini bike, trying for all the world to act like his father, who
Was it the
also
Honda?
rides motorcycles and does some racing.
That's really cool.
I don't
Nice.
know. Do you know what that is? He's 4 years old.
Yeah.
And he's got his little helmet on and on his little bike. So
Yeah.
Is it a Honda?
I don't know
would be
what it is.
interesting.
No, I think it's
Probably
a little
a-
Italjet.
Oh.
But I've seen him pull that expression now. Even now.
Yeah, every time he gets on a bike, he makes that face.
Yeah.
Excellent. That was great. Well
that's the
done.
John face.
All right, let's go. So, Rev Sisters Film Festival.
Yes.
Go check it out, revsisters.com. And come to our 500th episode recording December 3rd.
Yes.
Go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com
Yes.
and click on the link
Yes.
for the 500th episode.
Yes.
And support the AMA. Be a member of the AMA.
Yes.
Bottom line.
And
It's
I've
important.
got.
They're doing really important stuff.
Did you release a lot of spots on the Ask Miss Emma? Because
No.
I have had lots
Yeah,
of
you've got
inquiries.
some answering to do.
I got some splaining to do.
You do.
I got some Emma splaining to do.
Yeah.
One last plug for your for the big day, the 500th episode is if you are coming to town, come to town for a couple of days. If you're coming from out of town or you're bringing family, stay in town. Santa Cruz is a lot of fun. Hopefully the weather cooperates. But like after the show, we'll be right downtown, so we can spill out, check out downtown, all that kind of stuff. So I'd encourage you to come for a few days, rent a bike, have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's it. And go check out this Motorcycle Life Bruce Phillips show. Big thanks to everyone, including our Patreon supporters. Oh, you got one?
I got one more quick thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Me and Craig are going to be down in the desert, not this coming week, but the following week. So a week from this Monday, down in Lucerne Valley, so that's south of Barstow, where they do. King of the
So,
Hammers
are
and
you
stuff.
inviting people to come, or are you warning them that there might be a couple naked guys?
All
in
the
the
above.
desert?
Well, there'll be some excitement for sure.
And
Remember
lighting things on fire.
last time we had the was it the jizz hatchet? I think it was.
Oh,
God
God.
almighty. And that's enough of that.
It glowed in the
Okay,
dark. But
okay.
anyway, meet us out in the desert week after next if you want to
And
come down.
yeah, and if you want to meet Miss Emma, I will be down in the dessert. So on the 3rd, join me for trifle and pudding.
You guys. All right, Jim, you made it to the end of the show. Is it the
These-
chair? Is
the
it the chair?
chair's magic.
Yes.
These chairs
Yes.
are awesome.
Yes, it worked.
You cheeky
that was my
monkey.
ploy.
Keep
All
on.
right.
Comfortable cheeky monkey.
Okay. Thank you,
love
everybody. Let's get out of here. This is Liza.
Cheeky monkey!
What's up, Poutine Patrick?
Just Jim.
Bagel.
And let's get out of here.
Cool.
Cool.